Esto es thank you in Mexico. ¿Qué? These are the best hand gestures I learned living in Mexico that no one ever teaches you, starting with gracias. When you're crossing the street in Mexico, don't do this. This is what we do in the US. Hey, thanks. In Mexico, the driver is probably just going to look at you like, what's this guy doing? Why is he saying hi to me? You need to do this. And I promise you, this is really how we say thank you in Mexico with our hands. Another very common situation in which you can use this gesture is when someone comes up to you on the street trying to sell you something. Now, you could just tell them no when they're trying to sell you something, or you could just politely do this. You don't need to say no, you don't need to do anything, just a little head nod and no, I'm good, thanks. So now, when someone is trying to sell you something in Mexico City for the millionth time, just do this instead of caving in to their fake puppy dog face. I'm not falling for that anymore. No, gracias. Mamma mia, you thought this was just Italian, but in Mexico, this means a lot of something. Many times people will use this when talking about a lot of people, a lot of money, or a lot of traffic. And as you know, in Mexico City, siempre hay un buen de tráfico. So, for example, if your friend were to ask you, ¿hay mucha gente en la fiesta? You could just do, a lot. If you want to learn Spanish that apps won't teach you, go to SpanishWithNate.com or click the link in the video description to join our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish in 90 days, even if you've tried before. Get one-on-one messaging with me, weekly conversation classes, flashcards, and we even have a Mexican Spanish Pro course. We have more than 711 students getting results in the real world. Click the link in the video description to join or go to SpanishWithNate.com. Codo in Spanish literally means elbow, but if you're in Mexico and someone calls you codo, congratulations, you have just been called cheap. When you want to say that someone's being cheap, just do this. Now, I'd be lying if I said that people hadn't done this to me before, and my favorite thing to do when someone calls me codo is just to do this. And the best thing to say to people who can't understand your extremely frugal and attractive ways is to say, no soy codo, soy administrador. If you want to tell someone that they're being lazy, just do this in Mexico. Now, technically, the word for being lazy in Mexico is flojo, but a lot of people could also use the more rude word huevón, which literally just means big egg. So if your sibling has been lying on the couch all day, feel free to do this to them. This means you're scared or that you're being a chicken. Recently, someone did this to me because I didn't want to swim at a beach that tends to have a lot of jellyfish in it, which I have happily been stung before many times. My theory is that this gesture is referring to this body part puckering. That's my theory. And now, arguably the most and important used gesture in all of Mexico. Yes. As a guy who currently lives in Mexico, I can genuinely tell you that almost every day I use this. The most common time to use this gesture is when you're eating or drinking and you can't verbally say yes. So if you're eating some ricos tacos de guisado and your best friend, Luis Miguel, says to you, no sé tú, pero a mí me gustan estos tacos. ¿A ti te gustan? You could just do, me gustan. I also tend to use this gesture for extra emphasis. So even when I can say yes to something with my words, sí, I tend to use this in conjunction with that for extra emphasis. Sí, exacto. And if your compadre Luis Miguel says to you, ¿sabes una cosa? And you most definitely do not know una cosa, you can just do this to him, which means no. Another example could be if someone were to ask you, ¿Quieres un millón de dólares? To which you could reply, no. Pero, ¿por qué no quieres un millón de dólares? To which you would reply, porque ya soy millonario de amor. Soy millonario de amor. Let's say you've just finished an absolutely delicious drink at your favorite restaurant. You want to take another sip, but realize you have no drink left. You look over at the waiter, make eye contact, and you just do this. This means otro, or I want another one. This can also mean después, which would mean after or later. So let's say you're eating dinner and your brother comes up to you saying, hey, could you help me with my homework? You're eating away, you're like, yeah, okay, I will, but después, like, give me a second, later. One of my favorite hand gestures is this one. Woo! And you kind of got to make that noise when you do it. Woo! This just means a long time or a long duration of something. So let's say that a line is really long and you're asking your friend, hey, how much longer do you think we're going to have to wait in this line? Woo! Long time. I also love this gesture, which means expensive or money. And you can also use it if there's a rich person. So let's say you see a rich guy and you go, he's rich, he's got money. Or let's say you're out shopping with your girlfriend and she goes to buy some new shoes. She looks at the price tag and goes, that's expensive. Another hand gesture you can use in Mexico, which truthfully I don't see a ton, is this, which just means let's go. So if you and I are at a party and you want to leave, you could look over at me and go, let's go. Let's get out of here. Vámonos. Another gesture we can use in Mexico is this, which means poquito. So let's say you're drinking a little cafecito and the waitress comes up to you offering you more café. ¿Gusta más café? Sí, por favor. This just means yes, just a little bit. Solo un poquito. Another extremely useful gesture to know is this or this. I tend to use my hand, but you can just do this. This just means la cuenta. Just like with the gesture for sí, I use the gesture for la cuenta every single week here in Mexico. And if you ever see someone doing this just means que está loco. He's crazy. This gesture can mean two things. Borracho, drunk, or hey, let's go drink. Now, typically this refers to alcoholic beverages. So if you see your friend across the way and they go, that means, hey, you want to go get a drink? You say, sí. Vamos. Another useful gesture for when you're shopping in a busy area is just this. So let's say you see something you want, but you can't necessarily verbally communicate with the seller. You point to the thing and you just go, that just means, how much is that? This gesture is not to be confused with this, which just means que pedo, or what's up? Like, what's going on? What do you need? What? And finally, this one, which is not to be confused with thank you and not to be confused with ooh, long time. This means get out of here, no manches. And it can also just mean like F you, go away. Get out of here. Leave a comment on this video letting us know what your favorite hand gesture is. Gracias. I think you'll like this video. Click here to watch it now. Click it. Please, I'm just here, awkwardly waiting for you to click it. Okay. Adios.